Hi, my name is Karen Parsons. I'm a Director of Workforce and Sector Support at a voluntary sector organisation called Children's Links. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what hasn't changed in the duty to refer responsibilities, and also some of the things to think about when you're making the decision as to about whether or not a member of your team needs to have a disclosure and barring check. So firstly, what's not changed in the context of duty to refer? Well, we still have a legal responsibility that if we have any concern, we need to make sure we use the process that's all there for within the disclosure and barring service to refer the details of our colleague and along with details of the incident to the disclosure and barring service, and then they will carry on an investigation. If you as an employer believe that there is a reason to remove an individual from service, then it's absolutely imperative that you do then make that referral to the DBS. Alongside that, you need to also know and understand what your responsibilities are locally with the local area designated officer, and that information will be available to you on your local safeguarding board or local authority websites. If you want to know more about the duty to refer, then of course go to the Our Decision toolkit, there's information in there, but also go to the Disclosure and Barring website and you will see straight away there is a link into the whole process around what you need to do, and there are step-by-step guides and information regarding the referral process. Don't think twice about it, it's something that you ought to do. But don't be concerned that it's not you that's making the final decision whether or not that person then goes onto the barred list. That's down to the Disclosure and Barring Service, not you as an individual organisation. So, doing a check, disclosure and barring. There are lots of guidance around the definitions around regulated activity. The key to that is the level of supervision and the type of service that your employees, whether they're paid or unpaid, are going to undertake whilst they're with children and young people, and indeed vulnerable adults, but we're talking about our children and young people. So you need to think about whether or not that individual is going to be in a supervised or unsupervised context. If that individual is going to be providing care or training or teaching, whether they're in the environment around, they're going to be working within a school, whether they're going to be working in childcare, and think about the type of work they're going to be doing. You then need to go through a process of thinking about how frequently they're going to be working. So as well as the tasks they're going to be doing and the level of supervision, it's how often. So if they're going to be working with the same group of children or young people for more than 4 times in a month, then they need to have a check. Once you get as far as deciding, then you need to think about whether or not there's any particular need for you to have a check that's for children and for adults, or whether you're just asking for the check to be made against the list of barred people for children's safeguarding. In the process of then completing the form, it's really important that you use the details and write details about the job tasks in the comments box, particularly for those jobs where the role title isn't particularly clear about what aspects of work that member of staff will be doing directly with the child and young person. And don't forget, it's not about the individual, it's about the job. The decision to whether or not you make an application for a DBS check is based on the role, not whether or not you think that the individual's a bit suspect or not. So, and it's part of your whole safer recruitment processes. There are some particular sort of issues around certain sectors. So for some of our sectors, it's very clear what we need to, or the reasons why we need to have a check. So there are some issues around things like working in early years childcare. It's very clear in the childcare that both the environment and the kind of job that the individual would be undertaking comes within the definition. So that's a given that in that sector checks are had. Perhaps not so clear if you work in, say, youth work, and particularly if you work in community provision. You won't necessarily see the language around the role and the tasks in the definition. So you need to then think about the level of supervision, the activities, the frequency, and then make a decision based on those factors and as to whether or not that individual needs to have a DBS check. And if they do, then you make the application as previously described.